on what you doing. Come on, what you doing. Can't tell you nothing. I ain't got no ways. No! I ain't got no do-rag though. That's why. So like, yeah, fuck y'all.
Who the fuck is you? I gotta be camping.
What you in here for? What you in here for? Doing my live stream. You can't be in here when I'm live streaming, alright? If you in here when I'm live streaming again, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna smack you? I could do that? Could I like smack you? Smack cam you?
Are you saying smash or smack?
Liv, shut your Tony Hawk head ass up. Whoever says me first gets gifted the next game.
Me.
Late. I said it first.
Nah, Trail.
I said it first.
I've been wanting you to give me something.
I said it
I've been
first.
wanting you to give me something. I've been wanting you to give me something, Trail. Trail, I've been wanting you to give me something.
I said me first.
Z-Chow, you got me muted?
Yeah. I got you muted. Nah,
Why?
cause you asked me to.
My guy doesn't have you muted if he heard you say, do you have me muted? Like, can you think?
Crazy.
What's up, man? Welcome to the live with the fat man. He does nothing, he says nothing, he won't do anything. He's just gonna sit there and be fat. I'm gonna.
I didn't hit you for enough.
I'm leaving. You're getting. Everybody click my links. Everybody click my links. You're all getting sent links.
I'm gonna click it, Liv. Where to click it?
Take a second. My Wi-Fi.
Awesome.
It's good. Who in the street right now talking to me, you know what I'm saying? Who in the street talking to Pretty Boy Trill? Oh, what's up, Katie? You know what I'm saying? Oh, what's up, Katie?
Boozy. I feel like me and Boozy have like a little rivalry for this.
Y'all got a gay marriage going on?
Can you gift me it?
If you are.
The cheapest, can you gift me the cheapest thing in the item shop?
Alright, I got you.
Oh, Trail, I love you. That's why I fuck with you.
You look tired, lol. You better get right before you leave, lol.
I am tired.
GG's.
It's hard to have a mate when there ain't no sleep.
Gift me some though.
I'm about to get right now. Good night.
Night.
Can you just say good night?
It's like you a bitch.
Real my day went up and alright, y'all could, somebody else could have this thing. I'm about to go take a shit real quick.
Huh?
I'm about to go take a shit real quick. Somebody else can have this game.
Oh.
I'm still alive. What the fuck? You didn't live? I ain't gonna lie, guys. I miss being on the
I'm gonna go
team.
back to lobby and change my skin.
Oh.
Hey, the way you need to chill out with your gangster music, bro. The way. You heard me, Dwayne? Hey, Dwayne. Yo, hey y'all. Where that nigga Dwayne go?
I don't know.
Who y'all think Dwayne is?
Bro, I hit you like 4 times, bro. You hit me twice. And one. What the fuck? I hit you at least like 8 times. GG, bro. GG, bro. GG, bro. I'm about to try hard.
Your code expired today, but I used it again.
Who?
I have to try hard.
Your code.
My code never expired for me.
I knew he was gonna one pump me. I knew it. I knew it. Fucking bot, Bluesy.
Chill.
Okay. Nah. It was a joke, bro. It was a joke. He knows I'm playing. He's gonna.
Toxic.
I was being serious. You guys know my serious voice.
Hit me.
When I started screaming and shit,
Fuck no, baby.
I fucking hate this game. Is it funny when I read? No? Okay. I'm not. Oh yeah. I'm on that ass. Boozy, right? Yeah, Boozy. I'm on that ass, Boozy. Oh, okay.
I could try to do so hard.
No, you did. And now I got you covered. I'm gonna get a PC. Watch, I'm gonna get a PC and I'm gonna do that.
Same. I'm playing right now, but on a different account.
I wish I had a different account.
There's exclusive mobile. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. What's your name? V Boozy? Okay, bet. Hold on.
Damn, Bluesy, you got a third party more? I got no more than that. Y'all scared too much, bro. That's why I can't play with people that do. I'm going back to the lobby. soon as you shoot your shotgun, just go for the AR. That shit's annoying, bro.
I'm leaving the game right now. Hold on. Your bot. It's very weird. Hold on. I don't think you want to know. No, actually, my shit's shorter. Okay, I'm gonna add you. Hold
Can't believe I wasted my money on this skin.
I don't know how to add people on this. Oh yeah. Good.
Hey, Trail,
What's that?
can you give me the pink axe?
I don't know. Can I?
Or the
Yes, you
pink
can.
I don't think I can.
Fishy Bluesy.
I don't want to give nobody after I ain't get Gold Trooper.
Damn.
What's that?
As soon as it left, I heard Static didn't get you it.
That's crazy. I'd have been tight.
I added you.
Artica?
My body hurts.
No controller.
Fucking mobile play.
I don't speak to mobs.
It's not my account, relax. Okay, bet.
Alright, you guys go to the fair.
What are you about to play? What are we playing?
A game called Kill Tripsy. Everybody gonna get in the lobby. Tripsy gonna get one gun, and we gonna all have great pistols, and we gonna try to kill you.
Yep.
You get to kick one gun of your choice.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in.
so make that one gun your best gun.
Who, me?
Yeah. I
Alright.
preferably
Gold
suggest
pump.
you. Oh,
Gold
you're
pump.
gonna get a gold pump.
Yes. That's all I need.
Alright, well I would have said get a LMG, but yeah, since you picked the gold gun, that's on you.
I want the gold pump.
Alright, good luck.
You messed up.
Good luck. We taking great pistols.
I bet.
I'm at a
We
little.
can spray you from far.
Huh?
Like we can spray him from
It's
far.
fine. I can build.
You're playing on mobile?
Yeah.
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
Why? It shows I'm on mobile. I'm not.
I haven't worn this skin in a while.
You can't join?
No, I can't.
I'll join you then.
Ooh, great bomber.
Sam got across the playing
I'm not playing on my PC, I'm playing on my laptop.
Hey Taleja, come here, cause you be trying to play on my Fortnite account. So what's gonna happen is You switch to user and click another one.
Okay.
That ain't this one, or this one.
Okay.
You click another one. That one is not yours.
Okay.
And you know that. So stop trying to act stupid and act like nothing work, cause they do work.
Alright.
Just to get on mine. The day I
It
came
says
home,
I
I was
can't
like,
join you, or it says unfriend.
the day I came home, my sister, I was like, you been playing on my account? She was like, no. I press the thing and look at the shit, it's my account. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm gonna invite you to
I ain't play no games
Okay.
with me. Yeah. Oh my god.
It says view details.
Huh?
It says view details. The fuck?
Press join.
Okay, bet.
Are you letting in?
No. All it says is view details. I did. Nothing's doing it's not doing nothing.
Emoji eyes.
I'm just gonna play audio visualizer. Jailbreak still a thing? What the hell? What song you want me to play? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
I don't wanna play that. I'm sitting out. I'm not gonna play until I find something that's not boring.
Then it Ash. I'm joking.
Quit. Oh. Projects are important.
said that?
And he is seated in heavenly places. Surround him with people of prayer and let him walk out the will of God. In Jesus' name. And everybody shout it.
Stop.
Bless you.
So good.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Most
I'm so
powerful
sick.
people in the world. My book. But thank you, Paula, the beautiful prayer. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for this incredible crowd. There are thousands of people outside trying to get in. And if you're truly religious, you should give up your seat right now. Let them. But I'm thrilled to be here in Miami, Florida, to officially launch one of the most important grassroots movements in American history. It's a first. Evangelicals for Trump. And you know how we did a few years ago. Hard to believe. Already we're talking about it's almost 3 years, but you know how we did. The numbers were phenomenal, and the love is greater today, I think, than it has ever been. I'd like to begin my remarks today by extending our profound.
This is CNN Breaking News.
I'm Brianna Keeler, live from CNN's Washington headquarters. Underway right now, breaking news. Thousands of additional U.S. troops will be deployed to the Middle East following a dramatic escalation of hostilities between the U.S. and Iran. In a targeted airstrike in the Baghdad airport, the U.S. killed Iran's most revered and feared commander, Qasem Soleimani. And he was considered really the second most powerful person in Iran. He was the head of Iran's elite Quds military force, the visionary behind the proxy wars in the Middle East. He oversaw operations that killed hundreds of U.S. servicemen. And while this move now threatens to trigger violence from the Gulf to the shores of the Mediterranean, the Secretary of State provided this reason for the strike.
President Trump's decision to remove Qasem Soleimani from the battlefield saved American lives. There's no doubt about that. He was actively plotting in the region to take actions, a big action as he described it, that would have put dozens, if not hundreds of American lives at risk.
Now, in Tehran, there is anger against the West spilling onto the streets of the capital as protesters chant death to America and burn American, British, and Israeli flags. We have team coverage of this story. We have CNN's Ryan Brown, who is at the Pentagon, and senior international correspondent Arwa Damon there in Baghdad, where Soleimani was killed shortly after arriving at the airport. I want to begin with you, Ryan, because we're learning that troops will be deploying. Tell us if you know when.
Well, we don't know exactly when yet, Brianna, but we're told soon there will be thousands of additional U.S. military forces headed to the region. Now, these troops are coming from the 82nd Airborne Division. They're part of this kind of rapid reaction force that is designed to deploy quickly. They had been put actually on alert, prepared to deploy orders during the kind of crisis surrounding the American embassy, the attempt to storm the embassy by those militia groups backed by Iran. They had been put on alert. 750 paratroopers from that same unit had actually already been sent to Kuwait during the embassy response. So these forces kind of joining that response, kind of really upping the U.S. military presence in the region. Now, in the last few months, the Trump administration has deployed some 14,000 troops to the Middle East, citing threats from Iran and Iranian-backed proxy groups. So given the death of Soleimani and the U.S. military strike, the U.S. very much believing that we'll need additional forces in the region to respond to a crisis if one emerges. Now, the U.S. has also put all of its forces in the Middle East, stretching from Egypt all the way to Pakistan, on alert, on an additional force protection measures, citing specific intelligence about threats to U.S. forces in the region. Now, that's something that they don't often do unless they have specific intelligence saying that there is a threat. Given the statements by Iran about some potential retaliation, it's the U.S. military very much bracing for any changes in the situation.
In our last we spoke yesterday, the anti-American riots that were happening at the U.S. Embassy there in Baghdad, which were largely orchestrated by former Iran-backed militias, they'd finally receded after 2 days. But now this. So tell us where things now stand in Baghdad.
Yeah, Brianna, 24 hours ago, it seemed that at the very least there was some sort of tenuous calm, per se, when it comes to this proxy warfare that is unfolding in Iraq between Washington and Tehran. But that has all changed dramatically with this targeted killing that not only took out Qasem Soleimani, but also worth mentioning, the leader of the group known as Kata'ib Hezbollah. This is the same group, Brianna, that we have been talking about, the group that was targeted by the U.S. in those strikes on Sunday. The and attacks against U.S. military installations across Iraq. Now, the Iraqi government has come out and said that this is not just a violation of Iraq's sovereignty. Remember, the Iraqi government was already incensed at the U.S. over Sunday's airstrike. They are also saying that this is also an act of aggression against Iraq itself, because the leader of Kata'ib Hezbollah is also the second in command of what's known as the PMF, the Popular Mobilization Force. This is this predominantly Shia paramilitary force that is, yes, very closely tied to Iran, one that, in fact, Qasem Soleimani himself was often seen on the battlefield with, or reported to be on the battlefield with, when it came to the fight against ISIS. The Iraqi parliament is going to be meeting on Sunday. There is a big funeral procession planned in Baghdad, and then to move further south tomorrow. And you also have all of these various different Iranian proxies right now who are saying that their fighters are at the ready. Radical Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr, on the one hand, calling for a certain degree of calm, but also saying that he is going to lift the freeze on his Mehdi army, and that they too should be ready. When you look at this from the perspective of the Iranian government, this very much potentially a declaration of war. The bottom line is, Brianna, this is really pushing the region into uncharted territory.
Indeed it is. Arwa Damon on the ground in Baghdad. Ryan Brown at the Pentagon, thank you. And Iran says the U.S. will receive a crushing response for the death of its top commander, Qasem Soleimani. And that could come in the form of one of Iran's established patterns for retaliation, attacking areas with a U.S. military presence. With U.S. embassies and consulates across the globe, all of these are potential targets. The anger against the U.S. is resonating, as you can see here on the streets of Tehran. Thousands have filled the streets chanting "Death to America," ripping up, burning American flags. Soleimani's body is expected to arrive back in Iran tomorrow during a 3-day period of mourning. CNN journalist Ramin Mostagim is in Tehran. And Ramin, can you just give us a sense of what the situation is like right now in Tehran?
I mean, since early morning until now, almost every town, single town and cities in Iran are mourning. They are just involved in mourning service to commemorate what they call it as a martyrdom of Qasem Soleimani and his companions and friends. So, and now we have heard that Supreme Leader has paid a visit to Qasem Soleimani's home to say condolences and sympathize with the family and tell that Qasem Soleimani's path will be followed by more Qasem Soleimani. So Iran is wrapped up by sort of the, we can say, the cloth of the mourning, and then everybody is here anticipating the days to come, and middle class are worried about all-out war. But at the same time, it seems that officials are showing some sort of self-restraint, and they are thinking of catching American interest by surprise. So when, it's a matter of when the retaliation retaliation comes.
Yeah, when, not if. Ramin, thank you so much. Ramin Mostagim, I very much appreciate that report out of Tehran. President Trump's order of a drone strike on Iran's top commander.
Why the hell you signed out, this smart guy?
His presidency. And for more now on how all of this unfolded, let's go to White House correspondent Boris Sanchez. Boris, it's worth noting this happened as the president.
I literally just signed you in some kind of way you signed out.
Yeah, that's right, Brianna. Very quickly, we should point out that we just got some guidance that President Trump is going to be making a statement on this strike in Iraq that should come later today at about 5 o'clock, coinciding with this rally for evangelical supporters that he's holding in Miami. And you're right, all of this unfolded as the president was enjoying the holiday at his Mar-a-Lago estate just over my shoulder. And what we've heard from sources at the club is that it was like any other night, just a standard night at the club. The president dining with family, friends, and officials, eating meatloaf and ice cream. Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, was there. We're also being told that National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien was on hand. There was nothing, according to sources, that would indicate that something was afoot, except that sources did say that Trump was seen leaving a secure room at Mar-a-Lago around 6 p.m., right around the time that we first started hearing about strikes near the Baghdad airport. We also should point out that we've heard from Senator Lindsey Graham that he had been briefed about this plan days before it happened. Of course, you know, he was here in Florida golfing with President Trump. He made clear on Fox News that he had been given some idea as to what might happen, even though other congressional leaders were not briefed. As for today, President Trump, we've been told, has been
one of the passwords that I always use is the password.
About how this strike is being received. We're told that advisors have expressed hesitation to the president about Iran's potential response and the broader Mideast policy for
What the hell that is waving back there?
The president, we're told, has strongly defended his decision, Brianna.
Oh, it's Stormy.
Thank you so much for that report from West Palm Beach, Florida.